Hello everybody, welcome to a new video. Today we are putting a new turbo on the 8430. Old one was just junk really, and the exhaust manifold had a crack in it. So got the new manifold on already. Didn't video taking it apart because I have no idea what I'm doing, but I figured putting it back together would be a little bit easier and I can show you guys what I'm doing as well. Started this last week. Had to go get new intake gaskets because one tore taking the intercooler off. So we're gonna get the new gaskets on, get the intercooler on, and then fit the turbo and put the exhaust back together, and then she'll be done. So now we're up on top of the tractor here. We got the bottom half of the intercooler, and these gaskets we will spray with this copper spray gasket sealant. And then put them on 1, 2, and 3, and then put this on, put the bolts through, and these all get torqued to 35 foot-pounds, just like all of these exhaust manifold bolts. Got the right ones. I just set the top part of the intercooler on, and we're going to dry fit the turbo because the turbo is not set up the same as the old one. So we have to put it on and bolt it, and then rotate the intake around to fit in this hole. So I got the turbo set up here, and I set the center to be lined up with the oil line, and then got the intake rolled around to fit inside the intercooler. And the only problem that I'm seeing at this point is the oil return line being a tad too short. But we won't know for sure until it is all on. But I have to go uptown and get some metric bolts. The difference between this turbo and the old one, which is laying around somewhere, is the oil line bolts are all metric. So I have to go get bolts matched up for that match the bolts I took out. And then the turbo should be ready to go on then, and I have the piece that goes there, that's right there, and then we'll put the exhaust back up and slide it on and should be able to call it good. I am back. I have metric bolts, I have the turbo. I shot some measurements from here to here and a reference point down, and both turbos are identical in that sense, so this oil line should be right. Emphasis on should. So I have gaskets here that came with the turbo. We're going to get them put on this and get this mounted to the turbo, and then bring it down, bolt the turbo here with the thing inside there. We'll probably get the bolt started in this first, and then get the turbo mounted. That way I'm not fighting this. This is going to be a pain in the butt. There's like all of those long bolts over there are all for this going up through the bottom. So we'll Here is the turbo all mounted up and looking nice. The only thing we have left to do is tighten up all of these bolts down here to tighten the intercooler down, and then put the exhaust on. I have a few hydraulic lines I have to hook back up that I unhooked and pulled out of the way, I have the in and out of the antifreeze into the intercooler to hook up right there and right there. And I have to put the oil fill on there. It says in the book to fill this up with oil and turn it by hand to prime it, so I'm gonna do that as well. And then we'll put the oil line on, which is this right here, and that just pops on right there. After I get this all put back together, I have to put oil in it, and I have to put all the antifreeze back in it. I did drain it so that I wouldn't be getting it all over the place taking this apart. And yeah, so once that's done, then I will show you guys the finished product. Well, does it look the same? You guys now know what it feels like. Well, you guys now know what a week feels like, because it's been a week since I've picked up the camera last. You wanna know why? Because I've had all of this taken all back apart again, and I just finished putting it back together. One of the intake gaskets, the first ones we put on down at the bottom, it fell out of place, and I didn't see it until right after I set the camera down and started tightening those bottom bolts up. So I got that gasket replaced. I had to wait on that gasket, and then I went to put the intercooler back on and tore that gasket, this one right here, and so I had to wait on that gasket. And now we got it back together, and we are going to put these hydraulic lines back on. We're going to pour some oil on the top of the turbo. I'll show you guys when I do that, because I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing, so I'll show you guys it. And then pour oil down in that hole and turn the turbo around a little bit, just using your fingers in there. Bolt this back on the top with a gasket, and then I have to secure the oil line down there. Okay guys, I got those hydraulic lines on. I have just a regular oil pumper, and this just has motor oil in it, and we're gonna give a few pumps down into the top of this turbo here. There we go. Took about 3 pumps and it filled it up. So we're gonna put that over to the side and then spin the turbo. And it did go down a little bit, so I would consider that a primed. Now I'm going to put the gasket on this. We have it right here, this green one, and then put that on with 2 bolts. These are metric, I believe 8mm, if I'm not mistaken, or 6. And then we set the exhaust up and put that on with 4 bolts. These are stainless steel. They get torqued to 18 foot-pounds. There it is. We got the top on. We have the exhaust on. We just have to put this tube on right here that goes from the turbo around to this air intake up here. And then we will be 100% done. Well, we gotta get there's a barrel underneath the tractor with all the antifreeze in it. We gotta dump it back in. And then we'll be 100% done. I went through the other day, put oil in this thing, checked the hydraulic oil, put that up. I do need to still get a fuel line for the other side. We cannot start it and run it until we have that fuel line. It was supposed to be in today, so I'll have to try and find a way to figure out if that was in, because today is Saturday, so John Deere is not open at this point anymore. So you have just witnessed the replacement of a turbo in an exhaust manifold on a 1970 something John Deere 8430. Congratulations everybody, you have been a witness of my work, and I don't even think we need to test it because it'll obviously work very well. I'm just kidding. I'll bring the camera back when we're able to start it and run it, and I'll show you guys everything working like it's supposed to. Next step of the process is to clean up. We got a lot of tools out all along the steps. Got tools, the book. I didn't show you guys the cover of this book. This is for the motor. There you go. And yeah, that is it, guys. I'll be right back when it's time to start it. You guys want to know what $57 looks like? Well, there it is. Yeah, this fuel line costs $57. But we're gonna put it on. It goes from right there where the fuel filters are, around, it loops behind the oil filters and comes up and hooks up right there.
We're here with Gage, master mechanic and tractor fixer, making repairs. Hey Gage, alright?
Yeah.
Let's see what you're doing there. Look at those hands work.
The old girl's completely ready to be started up, but however, when I start this up, I want to pull it outside to look at it so that I have better light in all those areas that I just worked on. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit because it just started raining, and it's raining pretty good. So we're gonna, for you guys it'll just be a split second, but for me it'll probably be a little while. Here we go, first try. Alright, please don't blow up. Please don't blow up. Sounds smooth. I don't hear any hissing. I did forget about that line while I was filling it. It started pouring antifreeze out all over the place. Alright, let's pull her out. She sounds better. All right, she sounds good. I'm excited to get this thing out in the field, especially in front of that John Deere disc, because after the head gasket last year, it went right on that and it was struggling. So we're gonna see what the difference is, if there's a big difference or not. So anyway, that is this project complete, guys. I'm gonna get Dad over here, throw the hood on. It's all just normal stuff, 2 bolts, you know, latch it. And so this is the end of the video. So thank you for watching. This has been a long video in the making. This video took about a month, waiting on parts, putting it back together, waiting on parts again, all sorts of stuff. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.